Welcome to our first Monitoring Insights video. My name is Dan Waymeyer. I'm the product developer for monitoring here at Hosting. Today I'm going to focus on some specific examples of what we can deliver to our customers in our Explorer, Voyager, and Pioneer service tiers. Before I jump in, I want to define Monitoring Insights. Really, Monitoring Insights is a technology-backed service where hosting provides guidance on infrastructure, network, storage, and application performance through analytics. We collect and store these analytics in a single repository so we can weave all these various data points into a common fabric. That's a big part of this value proposition. Let me start with our Explorer tier. So at the base tier, we will cover all your infrastructure, performance, disk capacity, and there are additional layers we can put on there. I'm going to just walk through some examples. I'll start with a Windows server. This is the interface. You click on the little graph. That allows you to get to the performance metrics for each particular device. Once I'm on the Performance tab, you'll see lots of different graphs. If you mouse over them, they're interactive. They'll show you specific measurements at a point in time. These graphs can be adjusted. You can remove certain things from the graph, or you can look at metrics more specifically individually through this left navigation. In addition to infrastructure performance here, we also have file systems, so disk capacity. This data is, again, put your mouse, you can see the metrics, you can extend your windows, and you can look back and see changes. The view goes back quite a ways. You also have interface data, so you can see not only utilization of a particular interface, but how much bandwidth is being pushed over that interface. Outside of infrastructure performance and disk capacity, the Explorer tier also gives us the opportunity to monitor web content, Windows processes, Windows services, Linux processes, and ports. I'll give you an example. Each device that is discovered in ScienceLogic will catalog a lot of things. So first, the software and when it was installed, all the processes that are running, and again, this is a sortable list, so you can see much like Task Manager, SQL Server, and these can be monitored. So we can turn a monitor onto this. If that executable fails, we alarm and send notification. Same with services, and same with ports. If a port 80 is supposed to be open and it ever closes, we can put an event on that to notify you that the port is closed down. So the Explorer tier is really focused around infrastructure performance and some additional layers, ports, processes, and services and web content monitors. That collection of monitoring provides a pretty good coverage for most environments, but there are some notable things that you get in the Voyager tier. So I'm going to move forward and jump over to the Voyager tier. So I'm logged in here as a Voyager customer. I'm going to pick a particular device out and start to walk through the fundamental difference between Voyager and Explorer. So Explorer, you cover your infrastructure and some other components. At Voyager, you really get two new big things. One, application performance monitoring. So coverage for web servers and databases. And the second big addition in Voyager is the use of infrastructure performance dashboards. Let me start with application monitoring. Interact with a device the same way as you would in Explorer. You have all the Explorer capabilities plus a couple additional. So if I go to the Performance tab where I looked earlier, I still have infrastructure, I still have capacity, but now I also have Apache and MySQL. So I have good visibility into the number of connections that the web server is dealing with, the database is dealing with, how that's performing, how much throughput is going back and forth, and all those metrics have associated thresholds. So if there's too many slow queries, then there's a notification sent out to the customer that this has exceeded some threshold. So Voyager, again, you get application performance, Apache, MySQL, IIS, SQL Server, and then a whole host of database performance metrics in Amazon as well. On top of application visibility, you also get the use of dashboards. Now, dashboards is a really great capability of the tool, and the Voyager tier is specifically focused on infrastructure performance dashboards. So here, the dashboard that's loading now, you can see we've really tried to give you all the actionable information you need around infrastructure performance in a single pane of glass. This is showing your busiest CPU, your busiest memory, top 10 busy swap, and disk. At any point in time you want to jump into one of these devices, you just have to click, and it'll just jump right into the device. And here you can see the metric is 92%. On top of the kind of leaderboard sections that are showing you busiest to least, we also show all the alarms that are going off across all devices in your environment in one little window. You can click on the little blue eye and you can quickly see any tickets that have been opened and the associated ticket number. And then at the bottom we show more granular SNMP metrics, memory, CPU, across a few hours of time, and these metrics, these graphs are all drawn from your selection here. So if you want to compare 3 particular servers, you can just select all 3 and it'll graph all of them down below. If you want to turn 1 or 2 off, the graphs are all interactive. So good capability to bounce around your environment and to kind of have the system tell you what's important and not have to go consume this information device by device. In addition to this kind of leaderboard dashboard around private cloud environments, we also have options for Amazon environments as well, where we can show performance for EC2. All you have to do is just select a particular device, pick your time window, and they'll graph out CPU, IOPS, disk, and network throughput. So good capability there. Also, you can do block storage, and really pending the services that a customer subscribes to in Amazon, there's typically an associated dashboard for that service. So quick review, Voyager over Explorer. You get everything that Explorer offers, all the layers, but you get 2 important additional layers. One, application monitoring across databases and web servers, and then the addition of the use of dashboards to look more closely at your infrastructure performance. Next, let's move on to Pioneer. So Pioneer is our kind of top tier service. This is where we really start to extend visibility and look at finding ways to offer end-to-end monitoring to our customers. The 2 big additions for Pioneer is really the inclusion of application performance dashboards and topology dashboards. So let me give you an example first of application dashboards. So I've basically created a single dashboard that captures an entire application, all the application dependencies. If my visitors are going to visit the application, they have to go through a firewall. This screen shows me that my firewall is healthy or available, and this shows me a good indication of how busy it is. Same with the server. My server's running. It looks like it's running okay. And then we get down into the actual application performance metrics. First, the Apache process. Is the web server running on the server? Yes, it is. Okay, good. Now we can look at the health of Apache and how well it's doing. Are there any concerns? And is the port open? Then we move on to the database. The database service is running. The database connections are well within reason. We have some full table scans, but nothing to be alarmed. And the MySQL port is open. So right now, this dashboard is really showing you from where a customer would enter into your network to get to your application. Are things healthy there, all the way down to the layer where they're requesting data from the database. So again, this is a very helpful view of any application, and if there was an application failure, this is likely the first place you would go and check to see where exactly that failure occurred. Next, I want to show you an example of, whoops. I'm going to show you an example of a topology. This is a bit of a rough topology, but again, this is done through the discovery of an Amazon environment. And the reason I wanted to show it briefly is this is all through auto discovery, and and as large as this environment is, an important aspect here is the color coding. You'll notice everything's green, which signifies health, but there are 4 or so orange ones here. It's interesting, given the number of devices here, probably 200 or so, that very, very quickly you can identify where the challenges are. And again, you put your mouse over this for a couple seconds, and it pops up and it'll show you the event and why it's alarming. You can interact with these devices. This particular device here is an EC2 instance, so I can open it up just like I do any other device, and I can look at performance metrics that are published from Amazon's API. These are the same metrics you would get in CloudWatch. However, in ScienceLogic, you can correlate them much, much better. In addition to performance metrics, Amazon, the topology capability here is really helpful. Here's where you can see the topology as it relates to the device that you're looking at. So I know the associated storage, I know where it sits on the network, and I also know what security groups are protecting this device or allowing access to it. So this view here is really, really important and highly valuable for Amazon customers who are used to kind of struggling through the AWS console for this kind of visibility. Now, as we kind of move out of the rougher topologies, there's a lot we can do here to make this a bit more appealing, and let me give you a couple examples. One, smaller environment, definitely. However, this is modeled closely after our own reference diagrams that we deliver to customers. The big fundamental difference is that this is a live diagram. Each one of these devices will change color if there's events. You can put your mouse and learn stuff about them. You can interact directly with them. All very helpful things. And in the event there's change to this environment, the devices are automatically discovered and added, and they just need to be moved around a little bit. So a big update in capabilities, and this addresses some long-standing questions from customers over time of how do I keep my diagram up to date. This is really the solution for doing so. These are both good examples of Pioneer level dashboards with a Pioneer tier. A lot of the Pioneer customers will have the option of having custom dashboards done per quarter, and we'll focus those mostly on application performance and event correlation. There is an on-demand option that I want to take just a minute to speak to, where we can go even a little bit deeper, but they're on demand because of the amount of work involved on hosting. Let me give you an example of one of these on-demand dashboards. So this particular dashboard is a full architecture diagram of a few different applications that are working together to deliver an end service. And we've modeled the topology off of the original architecture diagram, and then for each one of these devices, again, the color coding stands. But it's not just availability, it's not just infrastructure or application performance. We've really mapped out everything that the diagram is suggesting communication flow. So 3306 is the port. We make sure we have monitors on 3306. MySQL is the type. We monitor that process. Microsoft Message Queuing Services, we monitor that process. We monitor 443. So everything you see represented here, there is a monitor on the device covering that use case. So anything that goes wrong in this environment likely will trigger one of those monitors to fail, and the failing monitor will result in one of these devices changing color. So this is a great opportunity to really sit down with the customer, and the reason it's on demand is because there is a substantial sit-down process to identify and deliver and quantify and define what it is that they ultimately want to do. But the most important thing I think you can take away from a topology diagram like this is that we're really moving up the value stack. You know, we've always monitored devices and infrastructure, and we're moving into applications, but this is really taking it to another level where we're monitoring like the flow, we're monitoring a process, almost a business process, and all the dependencies along the way. So really, really valuable, and I think most of the customers that I've worked with so far who see and understand this is really the holy grail, and where I think they all want to be headed. Couple parting comments. The flexibility of this tool really allows us to deliver single pane of glass performance dashboards, end-to-end diagrams, and even in some cases both at the same time. We're really only limited by the size of the screen, so there's a lot of impressive options that we can even continue from here. If you're interested to learn more, please reach out to your salesperson or your solutions architect. If you're unsure who that person is, I'd recommend visiting hosting.com. At the top of the home page, there's a sales line, which is 888-894-4678. Thank you for your time, and we really look forward to guiding you through your next cloud project.